Hello class! Today we are going to talk about works cited pages and in-text citations. As you're all starting on your research papers, I wanted to give you a little background information and basic information concerning MLA format. Our objective for today: students will be able to properly use MLA format in their demonstrations of in-text citations and works cited pages. You must give credit to those whose work you borrow from, which is why it is important to talk about. Alright, so beginning, let's say you find an article online that you would like to use to include in your research paper. For an example for this class, I found this article, "It's Time to Get Your Flu Shot," on CNN's website. Now, I would like to give credit to this author for any direct quotes I pull or for any information I use from her article. So, in order to begin this process, we cannot do our in-text citations until we have started our works cited page, because we're going to be pulling information from that works cited page to use in our in-text citations. Thus, we're going to start on our works cited page first. I'm going to show you an online resource that will be helpful. It's called Citation Machine. You can also use Son of Citation Machine as well. Both of them work. Alright, so go to Citation Machine, open it up. My computer's lagging. Alright, it's going to ask you to choose your style. We're going to be using MLA style, which is used for English and other humanities courses. So click on MLA. It's going to ask you then, what are you citing? So are you citing a book, which can be a written work or it can be an ebook, a magazine, which is going to be like periodicals, so something that's published weekly or monthly and focuses on a specific interest or subject, newspaper, self-explanatory, a website is going to be a collection of pages that provides information, a journal, so scholarly journals, and then there's films, so motion pictures, movies, YouTube videos. So, for my example, I used my CNN article. Let's reference that again. So it's just on CNN's webpage. So for my works cited citation, I'm going to use website. So it's going to bring up another web page for you. So essentially it gives you little boxes to fill in, and it's going to create the citation for you. You just have to give it the proper information. So let's go through these boxes together using the article that I found on CNN. So the first question it has is, what is the article title? So let's go back to the article. Article titles are going to be located usually near the top. So in this article, it's called "It's Time to Get Your Flu Shot." So I'm going to go back to Citation Machine and type in that box, "It's time to get your flu shot." Alright, next it asks you for contributor names. Now you can change this from author. It'll default to author, but if there's an editor, a translator, or a contributor, you can also include those. If there's multiple authors, you can add another author on by adding contributor over here with this button. So we only have one author. Usually authors are going to be located underneath the title. In this case, it is Jen Christensen is the author referenced here. So first name in the first box, last name in the second box. She is the author, so that's correct. We don't need to change that. Next box asks you to find the website title. Website titles are generally going to be near the very top. In this case, it's in this little box in the corner. So what is the website title? CNN.com. CNN. So for this box, I'm going to put CNN. Next, it asks you for a publisher. Publisher is who is publishing this document, who is publishing this web page. Usually located near the very bottom by the copyright. So let's scroll down. Here's the copyright, and then right next to it is who's publishing it. So because this is quite long, I am going to copy paste this publisher into this box. There we are. Next, it's going to ask you if you want to display your URL. You are only going to need to display your URL and click yes if there are no other identifiers in which I can find this web page. So because we already have the publisher, the website title, the author, and the article title, I'm going to say no to displaying the URL. So I don't even need to put it in there. The publishing date is going to be when was this written and published on this website. So let's go back. It's usually going to be near the top by the title and the author, and here it is. So this was published October 7th, 2015. So 2015, October 7th. Next, it's going to ask for date accessed. Date accessed refers to when did you access this web page? When did you access this article? So today is October 15th, 2015. Alright, so now that we've filled in all of the boxes, simply click Create Citation. Alright, it's going to bring up the little citation. All you do is copy, so right click Copy. Go on to your Works Cited page, which I'm going to have to create one at the bottom of my research paper. Paste it on there. Alright, now we need to format this correctly. I've already began by centering the title Works Cited. Do not underline it and do not make it any size larger text-wise or any different font than the rest of your Works Cited page. Also important, we're going to double space. So this little function up here, 2.0, and say remove space after paragraph. And then second lines need to be indented. So I simply click at the end of the first line, press enter, and then tab over. If you add any more entries into your Works Cited, you need to make sure that all of them are alphabetized. So if I add another Works Cited entry that the author has the last name of Austin, I need to put it before this Christensen entry so that it'll be alphabetized. Alright, now moving on, as we started our Works Cited page, we need to include in-text citations in the rest of our research papers. So going and scrolling up to my example, we first need to determine where we need to put in-text citations. So in order to do that, I'm just going to scan my paper and see where I have direct quotations or direct informative statements. So as we go along, I'm just going to underline those. It is flu season again. Clinics across the country are beginning to advertise flu shots as the fall months settle in. While the flu season passes without affecting the vast majority of people, some deaths do occur. According to the CNN article, It's Time to Get Your Flu Shot, written by Jen Christensen, 146 children lost their lives. Okay, that is a direct quote. I'm going to underline that so I can come back. Due to flu-related complications last year. Adult deaths are not recorded, Christensen says, but she does mention that the elderly and those adults with various physical ailments, asthma, etc., are more at risk of the flu being detrimental to their health. Every year there is always the debate on whether to vaccinate or not. There are those who are adamant about getting their shot, whereas others adamantly are opposed. It is sometimes mentioned that some protection is better than none at all, yet last year when the virus mutated, the vaccine was only about 19% effective. Alright, another direct quote. I'm going to underline. Meaning even those who were vaccinated were still at high risk of infection. Alright, so now we have determined that there are 2 points in this research paper so far where we need to give credit to the author because we have essentially taken part of their work and put it into ours. And we do not want our reader to think that is our information because then we have essentially stolen someone else's work. So, before we can begin this example, you need to have some basic information about what an in-text citation looks like in MLA format. So I want you all to write this in your writer's notebooks. We're going to be taking notes so that you have a reference point when you are doing this on your own for your own research papers. So MLA in-text citations. The general way that you do a citation is that you're going to include author and page number within parentheses after the sentence that includes the quote, but before the period. So if this was the period at the end of the sentence, you want to include the in-text citation within that sentence before the period. Now, what if there is no author included, but you do have a page number? So you have page number. What you're going to do in this circumstance is you're going to still include the parentheses, you're still going to be including the page number, but instead of putting the author, you're going to put a simplified version of the title. So simplified just means you're cutting it down. So if there was a title that was 10 words long, you're using the first couple words. You're just giving your reader a reference point so that they can go back to your Works Cited page and find which work you have drawn your information from or copied your direct quote from. So what if you have author but you do not have the page number? In this version, you're going to still have the parentheses, you're going to still have the author, but you're going to simply leave off the page number. Next, if you have no author and no page number, you're going to do the simplified title and leave off the page number. So let's look at our text again. Let's create an in-text citation for our first direct quote. So first we're going to include the parentheses. Who is the author? Jen Christensen, which she has been mentioned earlier in the sentence. So readers already are aware of who the author is. So we do not necessarily need to include her in our citation. There is also no page number as it is a web page. So, looking back, you'll also notice that I've already mentioned what the title is as well. So readers are aware of the title and the author. If there was a page number, I would include that in an in-text citation. But other than that, readers are already given the information they need to know in order to locate it on your Works Cited page. So I'm not going to put an in-text citation for this first example. Down here, last year when the virus mutated, the vaccine was only about 19% effective. Alright, so there is no mention of the author earlier in the sentence, so we can put the author down, Christensen, and there is no page number, so we're going to leave that off. Make sure that you're putting your in-text citation after the sentence where the quote is, but before the period. We'll be talking about this more tomorrow.